Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar, Grow Your Small Business. My name is Yolanda Facio. I'm with the Maricopa SBDC. And today, we're going to be talking about three different things. One, we're going to talk about support that you can get from SBDC around starting a business. The second item is growing your business. And we think about growing your business in terms of funding, capital loans, those kinds of things. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is our new business-to-business marketplace called AERO. So I want to introduce everybody who's going to be on the call with us today. So today we're going to have CJ Johnson, who's on our money team, and she will be here to talk to us about all things money. Esmeralda Estrada is on our team, and she's going to be handling the background stuff. So if you have questions or you want to add something into the chat, at this point, I can't see that. So she's going to be monitoring, make sure that we get all of your questions answered. And we're going to definitely set aside time at the end to do that. And then we're also going to have a special guest, Brian Duncan from Wells Fargo. And he's going to be here in a little bit to talk about the loan programs that they have, the resources that they have available for small business owners. So I say we get started. Let's see here. This is our small business, Grow Your Small Business page. And Esmeralda is going to put the link in the chat window so that you can navigate to this site. This is a critical piece of our program. Everything sort of branches out from this page. And so you can see on our landing page, it's all about small businesses. We have a start area, a grow area, a match area. And to start with, CJ is going to give us a brief overview of what our start programs and resources look like. If you're interested in starting a small business, maybe you already have a business, you want to start a different business. If you're just in that startup phase or even in the ideation phase, we can help. So I'm going to hand it over to you, CJ.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. We have some really valuable information to share, and I hope that you get a lot from it. The Arizona SBDC has been around for decades now, and we have 10 different centers scattered throughout the state. If you are a startup business, you can go to any of those and request counseling. When we're speaking today, we're going to be referring back to this website because you'll be able to click on that start button on the Get Started, and that'll help you begin that path. But some of the resources that we offer at the SBDC is one-on-one, no-fee counseling. We help with cash flow analysis. We help with marketing, sales, your website, all of these type of things. We give advisement towards that. We partner with different entities like PTAC, for government contracting. They're one of our partners too. And then we receive different resources in the sense of different platforms we use. IBIS World that does research. We do Live Plan for business planning purposes and building projections. We have a lot of different resources that we can offer. And if you're just kind of a tire kicker right now, not really sure what you want to do, the Maricopa Center actually has a pre-venture program, self-paced, that you can get into and work through all the different facets of starting a business. So we have lots of resources, all at no cost for you. So that's how you get started.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. So basically, lots of tools and counselors available to talk you through the process. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the process, pre-venture through startup, even if you've just recently started your business, you might have your LLC in place, you might have your EIN number in your bank account, but you're like, okay, now I need to get some customers and I need to get some work in the door and get some revenue. So what do I do now? And so that's, you can come right in, we'll meet you right there and then help you start to think through creating strategy around where you want your business to go. As CJ mentioned, marketing, strategic marketing plans. So we've got folks in all different kinds of industries with all different levels of expertise. So we can help you. We have someone that can help you. So if you're interested in that, It's very simple. All you need to do is click the Get Started Business. It will take you to another page with a very short form. Hopefully everyone can see that. And you'll just fill in these few bits of information. And once you click Start Your Small Business, you'll get an email from us with additional information about how to get registered for our no-cost counseling. And it's always no-cost counseling. Maybe you don't need us this month. Maybe you need us 6 months from now. Still no cost. Just drop in when you need us. So that is the start area. If you have questions, stick them in the chat or QA section, and we will address them. Esmeralda, do we have any questions right now that we should address?
No, we don't have any questions yet.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to move on to, so one of the things I just mentioned is you start your business, you're right in the beginning, stages of it. You have all of the check mark items done, but now it's like, I need some customers. I'm started, but I need like a website so that I can get customers. So you're in that, like, I need to get started, I need to grow, I need to start generating business. And that's where our new AERO program comes into play. So AERO is a business to business marketplace. And I'm going to switch screens here. CJ, nod if you see my screen. Perfect. So this area on our website is just for AERO and introducing you to AERO, what it is, what it means. I'm just going to give a brief overview today. We have more webinars and more workshops coming to give you even more detailed information. But today I kind of wanted to give you an overview of how it works. So this program is funded by a grant through Wells Fargo. It's hosted through our Maricopa Community College District, and we are SBDC, the ones sort of making it all happen in the background, helping you get connected to it. So the purpose of this is to provide a way for new business owners or even existing business owners to get support with projects that they need to get done in their businesses. So let's say you need a website. We can help with that. You go in, you say, I need a website. A service provider on the other end will say, I can help with that. And in that relationship, you're creating an end deliverable for your business. You get a website at no cost, and the person providing that service for you gets a small stipend for their efforts. So you can see how this could be a really big game changer for a business who is just in the startup phase or in the growth phase. So you could get customers by becoming a service provider and providing your services in return for a small stipend. Or if you just need to get social media done, website done, communication stuff done, marketing materials done, budgeting done, I don't know how to use QuickBooks, I need a forecast. Any of those things could be projects that you could put into our platform and ask someone to help you with. And again, it's at no cost. So a few key pieces of this are that service providers are those folks or small businesses who are wanting to provide services in return for a small stipend. And the stipends go up to $1,200 for 80 hours worth of work. Some projects are going to fall anywhere in that, and we have different tiers for stipends. A service seeker is a small business who is seeking services to help grow their business. So on this page, if you scroll down, you'll see there's two buttons here. One is for service providers, one is for service seekers. There are two different paths for each of those. There's additional information about how the program works, what it's for, what you'll get out of it. There's a plethora of information, actually. And so at any point in this process, you can always seek support and help from your SBDC counselor if you're an SBDC customer or client, or you can reach out to our team, which is sbg@domail.maricopa.edu. And it's a mouthful, so Esmeralda is going to put that in the chat for you also. And hopefully she's added the website link for this AERO page, so you can have a way to get here really quickly. The second thing is talking about a little bit more in depth about service providers and service seekers. So let's start with service seekers. When you click that link, it's going to take you to another landing page. And this page is all about that part of the program. How do I become a service provider? What does it mean? What are the benefits? What do I get out of it? So it's a simple process. You'll click the check my readiness button, and that will take you to a form. And the form is just going to ask you a whole bunch of questions about you. Who are you? What is your name? What is your business? What is your email address? We need all of these things so that we can stay connected with you and get you set up in this business to business platform. So for service providers, there are some criteria. So we want all of our service providers to be SBDC clients. So that's one of the criteria. It's very simple to meet that criteria. You'll get a link on how to sign up to become an SBDC client. Again, it's a free service. So you'll be able to talk with a counselor, tell them that you're interested in AERO, get some support around how you could use AERO to grow your business. And then you'll also get connected with our platform through that path. Now, if you're already an SBDC client, then we will send you a link and get you started right away. We want you to meet with your counselor and talk to them to get support around the program, but we'll send you right to our platform. And I'm going to talk about the platform in just a minute. So this part is just about service providers. We want you to be an SBDC client. We want to make sure that you are in business. So we want to make sure that you have your LLC, your EIN, and a bank account so we can pay you, right? Because there is a stipend and we need to be able to give you your money when you're done with projects that you're doing for our service seekers. So those are two key criteria that we want to make sure that you keep in mind as you start to go through this process. The form is quite a few questions. It goes really fast, won't take more than 5 minutes to get you set up. For the, I'm going to switch back now and I'm going to go to the service seeker side of this. You get a similar page, same thing, lots of information, tells you how the program works, what's in it for you, etc. Lots of information. Same thing, check my readiness button. We are wanting all of our service seekers to also be SBDC clients. It's part of the criteria for getting onto our business to business platform. And once you answer all the questions in the pop-up form, we will direct you. If you're not a client already, we'll direct you on how to become a client. And if you are an existing client, we'll direct you to the platform. One thing to keep in mind, if you are a small business looking to get some support with projects, you want to have a good idea of what the project is and what you want it to be. So let's take a website, for instance. There's a design phase where we talk about what do we want it to look like. And then there's the building phase. Those are two separate projects. And you want to be able to articulate that in your scope of work. Here's what I want someone to do for me. So if we talk about social media, I want them to get me set up on Facebook. I want them to create a header image for my Facebook page. And I'd like them to create 10 images that I can share on Facebook related to the products that I sell. So that could be a project in itself. We've clearly outlined what we're asking this person to do. I need them to have Photoshop skills. I need them to understand how Facebook works, right? So all of these things, you want to make sure you have clearly outlined in your scope of work. And here's where the benefit comes to having your SBDC counselor on hand, because they can help you work through what are the things you want to put in this scope of work so that you get the biggest bang for your buck, right? So when you get into this platform and somebody comes to help you know exactly what you need, and they can provide it for you. And this is the best way of matching service providers and service seekers together. Again, for service seekers, it's a free service. So I encourage everyone to think through, like, what are the things that you do every single day that you're running out of time for? I'm doing all of these things on the back end of my business, and I can't get to the customer facing side of my business. I don't have time to get out and network because I have to do my bookkeeping. I don't have time to get out and go to events and table at events because I'm back here doing my marketing. So we all need help. I was a small business owner for a very long time, and I remember how long, like years, that it took for me to actually get a website up for my business. And part of that was because I'm like trying to get revenue in the door, right? And a lot of these things just get put on the back burner. But what if we didn't have to put them on the back burner? What if we could get some help and support to get these things done, which would just like grow our business? And sometimes that growth can be exponential, right? I have one client that I've been working with over the last couple of months. She has a small tax and accounting business or bookkeeping business. And so she wanted to grow her business, but she was just starting out. And so she has put several projects on the platform. She's getting help getting a website done. She's getting help with creating specific bios for like LinkedIn and Upwork so that she can bring work in the door. And then she's asked to get some help with social media so she can understand which platforms should I be using and how should I be using them? And then can you help me create some content and graphics for those platforms? So, I mean, this is big. This is really going to help her grow her business, get clients in the door, and start getting the revenue in. So these are the kinds of things that I think make for great projects on this platform. So I'm going to take a quick check on time. Okay, Esmeralda, I'm going to ask if anyone has any questions at this point.
Yes, we do have a few questions. I will read the first one. So the first one is, I would like help investigating the possibility of buying our family business from my father-in-law. I think the first step is to have a valuation done.
Great. Yes, that is, I would say, the first step is to sign up with the SBDC and get an SBDC counselor, because we can help connect you with resources so that you can get that business valuation and start to think about what that looks like for you. So I definitely think we can help you with that.
And I would agree with what Yolanda says. I mean, that's a key step for what you're looking at. You need to know what it is worth in order to start planning on that payment, that funding, that activity. So absolutely, we can help with that.
All right, thank you. So the next question is, we need some help figuring out our marketing strategy in these changing times. So that's another thing they need help with.
Great. So again, same thing, SBDC counselors can help with that. They can help you create a marketing strategy. They can help you think through what are the best ways to reach customers and brainstorm with you, create a plan, an action plan for how you're going to execute getting more clients in the door. And then oftentimes what happens is when we help to create these strategies, we're going to say, you probably should be on Facebook and using Facebook ads. And you're like, okay, great. Can you help me with that? But we don't. And so now what we will do is send you to the AERO platform and help you create a scope of work so that you can get support from one of our service providers to get that set up with Facebook ads. Facebook ads is very complicated. So it's always good to get some help and support around how do I use Facebook ads to get the most for the dollars I'm spending. And that's all through creating audiences. So we can help you create a plan for how you're going to get customers in the door. And then you can get on AERO to execute some of the steps, right? And create some of the pieces to get that in motion. We don't want to leave you stranded.
Exactly.
All right, so the next question is there a service to make advertising videos?
Advertising videos, yes. So I actually spoke with one of my clients this morning about video. We do have some videographers who are service providers on our AERO business-to-business platform. And if you are looking to get some videos made for your business, short things like tiki-talkie videos, or maybe you want an advertising video. In this case, my client wanted something just to promote that they are a Super Bowl provider. And so they wanted to be able to get that information out on their Facebook page and Instagram and such. And so my recommendation is definitely talk through what you want that to look like with your SBDC counselor, and then create a scope of work and get it on the platform, because there are service providers currently who are videographers and can help you get that done.
All right, thank you. So another question, is there help with brand marketing?
Brand marketing?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but yes, we can help with that. Definitely your SBDC counselor can help you create a strategy around brand marketing, or send you to someone who can make a referral to someone who does brand marketing. Again, if there are specifics, you can put that on the business to business platform, on the AERO platform, and just simply request some support around creating a brand strategy. And then that, of course, having a brand strategy obviously is one key component. We want to know who you are, who you're serving, what do your clients look like, how do you speak to them, what's the tone you use, and all of that comes down to all of the minutia about how you're going to present in front of clients. But then now that you have this picture, that's someone, a service provider could help you get that together. And then your next phase of the project would be, now that I know who I am, who I'm serving, what I want that to look like, how do I put that into the world and start getting clients? And then that translates into your marketing strategy. And yes, we can help with all of that.
So this one's regarding SBDC. So how do I know my strategic business plan really is confidential as far as your organization and counselors will not sign my NDA? I really would like it signed.
So because the SBDC is funded in part by the Small Business Administration, which is a federal program, we are bound to confidentiality rules. So everything that you do with us is confidential. I spoke about a client wanting to do some strategy and video around maybe Super Bowl video, but I can't tell you who they are. I can't tell you what they do. I can just say, as an example, here's how we can help. So if you have a technical product that's something new and innovative, again, it's confidential. And you get to talk to us about the level of confidentiality you want to have. So when you first sign up, everything is confidential. I can't even talk about, even loosely, about your business to anyone outside of the counselors within our office, right? And even then, it's restricted. However, we do ask, is it okay if we make referrals to you? In order to match you with other people, we need to have your permission to do that. And we do ask for that up front. We send you a form. It's up to you to decide how and what level of confidentiality you want to have and around what things. So we do honestly keep to a pretty strict confidentiality set of rules. We have to. It's part of our job. We don't get to bend on that at all. Would that sort of match up with what you would say about it, CJ?
I would agree with that too. I mean, in order for us to provide referrals out to other sources, whether it's give you the name of, 3 lenders to choose from, 2 or 3 lenders, or 2 or 3 CPAs, we have to have some kind of a release signed from you saying that's okay to do. Other than that, we don't do any of it. We just talk to you.
Yep, because ultimately, especially around funding, and even around, new products. I remember working with someone who wanted to manufacture something new, and they needed some referrals to some manufacturers to try to get a prototype done, right? And so in that case, we want to be able to share information so that you can connect with manufacturers, but we do need permission for that. So we do ask, and it's entirely up to you what level you want us to have.
All right, next question. California has food gnome where you're allowed to sell your food directly from your home. Is there something like that here in Arizona?
I don't know, CJ. That's a good question. We do have a couple of. Go ahead, CJ.
I was going to say that would be one of those we're going to have to get back to you unless there's someone from one of the centers that has that answer that's can throw it into the chat. I don't know. Someone get the answer for you.
Someone did mention. Someone mentioned Arizona has the cottage food program.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, great, thank you. We do have 1 or 2 individuals on our team who have expertise in the food area. And so we do have someone that we can connect you with on our team specifically that could probably help and answer those questions. I know that there are lots of resources out there with kitchens that are available that you can work out of if you don't have a restaurant, say. And there are some programs through various other organizations in Phoenix that cater to helping small businesses around the food industry. So I think that, yes, I think that's something we can help and support you with. One of the things to keep in mind is that, I personally am not an expert in everything. My businesses were in automotive industry and construction industry. However, there are some things that are similar, right, across business to business, bookkeeping tactics, those kinds of things. But if we don't have the answer, and many times I don't have the answer, I am willing to go out there and start emailing my fellow coworkers and saying, hey, do you know of anyone that can help with XYZ? Or we'll co-counsel. Sometimes when someone wants a big loan, I reach out to CJ, I'm like, can you get together with me and this client? Let's talk through how we can help them get funding. So we work together with our team to try to get you the resources that you need.
That's one thing I'd like to expound on too, is that you might get a lead advisor, but you actually get a team. The availability to a lot of resources and people knowledge is really vast across all 10 centers. It's amazing.
Yep.
All right, thank you. So I'll just read out a few more questions and then
Great.
you'd like to continue after. Our business is currently more of a distributor, but we would like to start manufacturing. Do you have volunteers that specialize or have experience with manufacturing? When I say manufacturing, I mean buying a machine and making our packaging item.
Oh, interesting. I think that's very specific. So that's something that in working with a counselor, we would want to get some details around whatever that product is, go back into our referral source list and see if we can match you up with folks who can do that kind of work.
Thank you. All right. I need help with business income taxes. Is that something you guys can help me?
So with income taxes, that's a tough one, right? Because we aren't the IRS. Same for legal stuff, but we can refer you out. In some cases, that might be something that an AERO service provider could help you with. I know that one of the businesses that I work with, she provides tax preparation services and bookkeeping services, and she is a service provider on the AERO platform. So it's certainly worth popping a project up on the site and seeing if you can get some support from one of our AERO service providers. But we also have referrals to tax specialists that your SBDC counselor can connect you with.
All right, thank you, Yolanda. So the next question, I'm looking to start a small business, but have no idea where to start. Is this all something I can learn from SBDC?
Absolutely. So that's when you want to click that start button, because we'll connect you with our whichever county you're in. We have SBDC offices all over the state. And so we'll connect you with the county that or the SBDC office that is closest to where you're doing business. If it's Maricopa or say it's Phoenix, then we would connect you with the Maricopa Center. And the first thing we would do is we'll ask you a few questions and then put you through our pre-venture program. And that program is to help stimulate ideation around your idea and help you start to think through the idea. And then once you get more solid in what you want to do and how you want to do it, that's when you move to a counselor to have telephone or Zoom sessions with that counselor to start talking through, like, what are the actual steps I need to take? Here's the first thing you want to do. Here's your next action step, and would help you walk through that process. I'm going to show the Ripen platform really quick so that I make sure I don't run out of time, and then we'll jump back in and try to get some more questions answered. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So the Ripen is an online platform that we are utilizing in order to have this business to business marketplace. And when you get logged in and registered and become part of the Ripen program, you'll have access to the AERO projects. And so as you can see down below here on the screen, there are cards, and each card is a different type of project. And so this is kind of what it's going to look like. Once you've created your project, it will land in one of these key areas. We've designated, I believe, seven key areas. The faces screen here is blocking my view. There are 7 key areas, as you can see. Web design, visual arts, which would be, maybe you need photographs, graphics. There are communication projects, social media, accounting, finance, business consulting, which could be, around getting your business plan done. And then we have sort of a catch-all, which is advancing entrepreneurship. So your project could go in there if it doesn't actually fit in with one of these areas. And once you get into these areas, you'll be able to see how many projects are listed. So you can see we have 4 website projects listed in various stages of getting done. And that's, basically how this works. You'll just go in, see what's available if you're a service provider to be able to apply to those projects. And if you're a service seeker, you'll be able to post your project and it'll land here, and folks will be able to see it. So that's a really quick overview. We have more workshops coming where we're going to give much more detailed information about how to navigate, how to get your first project up, how to sign up. One thing I will say for everyone, if you want to be part of the AERO program, when you sign up for Ripen, you'll want to do it using a link you receive by going through the landing page that we took you to originally. So this landing page, you'll get an email with a special link, and you'll want to use that special link. That way you're in the program. If you're a service provider, you're in the program to get your stipends paid. If you are a service seeker, you will be using Arizona SBDC folks to complete your project. Otherwise, the Ripen program was originally designed for colleges and students, and you may end up getting a plethora of college students in Canada wanting to help you. So you definitely want to go through the process of answering the questions, wait for the link, use that link to get signed up, and that will make sure that you get into the right place on the Ripen platform. So it looks like Brian has joined us, and I'm going to hand it back over to CJ so she can move us back over to the funding side. Now, there's going to be a little bit of time at the end, so we will definitely have time to answer more questions for you. And I encourage you to stick around and definitely ask those questions. CJ?
Thank you. Just to touch on real quick, the middle button there, it says grow, and that's kind of my world. When you go through that, you're asking basically for some kind of capital assistance. You're wanting to grow your business, you're needing some kind of funding of some sort. And so the Arizona SBDC created the money team, and we support all 10 of our centers and their clients in that pursuit of capital growth. And so when you click in there, fill in a couple questions, it comes right over to my desk, and then I connect you, and we have a meeting, and I find out what your needs are going on. And it's real short, real easy to go through. And as you're going and working with your lead advisor and me as they bring me in, then we can get you more prepared for meeting with a lender. And that's why we brought Brian on today. He's our special guest, Brian Duncan. He is the Vice President and Manager of the Small Business Development area of Wells Fargo. And he's joined us today to share some important lender insights. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, CJ. Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, can you give us a little background about you?
Yeah, so I've been with Wells Fargo for a little over 10 years. Believe it or not, I started as a contractor, wasn't even an employee, and worked myself up from there. Today, what I do is I manage a team of, we call them business acquisition bankers. Essentially, they work with small business owners seeking to better understand the small business, the cash cycle, how they make payments, how they receive payments, and then make appropriate banking suggestions and working with a relationship manager. And so it's a really fun job because I get to learn about a lot of different businesses. And I use the word geek out because I truly do geek out. I can have a meeting with a physician in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I can talk to a machinist that makes just recently makes rocket parts for Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' company. And so it keeps me on my toes because you learn a lot about a lot of different things. But there are some similarities between all businesses, and that's what I've asked. That's what I've been asked to talk about today. Is what lenders are looking for? What are some things that lenders look for when you're going to a bank for lending, or really just you're looking for a banking relationship? And so some of the things that kind of just jump out of the page, is making sure that your ownership structure is in place. There have been times, and believe it or not, it's coming up a lot more often, where ownership has changed, but it wasn't changed with the state. And so it really slows us down because we've got to get that changed before we're ever going to start a process. And so making sure that everything is current and accurate within the corporate commission is we can't even open up checking accounts if that's inaccurate. The next is making sure that, and this is where the SBDC really partners well with small business owners when they're referred to us, is the financials need to be in a format that's clean and easily read. There have been times where I've had, believe it or not, tax returns that were handwritten, and I've had P&Ls that were handwritten. And there's nothing wrong with doing your own accounting. We see it all the time, but it makes it much more difficult for us to review and analyze the information when we're trying to realize if that's a 9 or a 7. Those are things, being typed financials, I guess, is the best way to put it. It makes our job a heck of a lot easier. And what I share with business owners is try to make our job as easy as possible, and we'll try to make your job as easy as possible. Underwriters, and luckily I'm not an underwriter. I shouldn't say that. I'm a salesperson through and through. I couldn't sit behind a desk and look at numbers. I like to talk to small business owners, and I like that personal connection. We try to make it as easy as possible for those underwriters to review the information and answer their questions. And the more that they have to dig, it just gets harder. That's all I'll say. A couple of other things to think about is, especially with lending, all banks don't have the same appetite. And so something that Wells Fargo has a really big appetite for, other banks may not. And I was talking to a car wash owner yesterday, and I won't mention the competitor, but they are known to be a car wash lender. And so they have a really good appetite for car washes, and they can get comfortable with deals that Wells Fargo may otherwise not be. Something that Wells Fargo does well is we have our medical. We have a huge appetite for anything medical related. And so we can get comfortable with that and do things that other banks may traditionally not be familiar or comfortable doing. And so do your homework is all I'm going to say. And this is not a Wells Fargo, you should just come over to Wells Fargo. I would say just have multiple conversations with lenders. Figure out which one understands your business. And then once you have a handful of lenders, apply to multiple lenders. So I know this kind of there's a thought process of, well, I've picked my horse in the race, no pun intended, since we're Wells Fargo, but we picked the horse and we're gonna stick with that bank. Well, what happens if that bank, if it goes sideways or something comes up throughout the process and you have no backups? It's absolutely vital to be able to pivot and move to another lender. And honestly, I tell, even when I'm competing for a loan or my bankers are competing for a loan and we have another bank and they're like, well, I don't know which one to go with. You know, you're a little bit cheaper, but your rates are a little bit higher. And I go with both. You know, have the option when you get that offer letter in front of you, have the option to pick whichever lender and have those lenders compete for your business. As opposed to going with that lender, and it's happened before. This is real life examples where 60 days have gone by, and we get a call back from the small business owner, and they're like, "Hey, you know, XYZ bank wasn't able to do the transaction. You know, can you step in? And by the way, can you close in 3 weeks?" No, we can't. But had we been parallel with that other lender and this happened, absolutely, we could have stepped in and helped with that funding. And so just whichever lender you decide, you have a first, second, third, make sure that you're applying with all of them. They're all going to probably need the same information or very similar information. And so it's not going to be any additional work on your part. And then on top of that, if you're pulling credit within a short amount of time, it's going to count as one pull. So you're not going to have multiple times or multiple pulls on your credit. It's going to count as one pull, and you're kind of mitigating some of that risk of a lender, you know, not being able to fulfill that loan. I wrote down a couple of other ones.
These are really good, Brian, because someone just asked that question about if they fill out an application, is that going to ding their credit? Yeah. And it would say one, right? If you fill out, you know, 3 applications, that counts as one pull. Within I'm not a credit expert, so I can't give you advice there, but as long as it's not, you know, 3 months apart from each other, but if it's in, you know, let's say arguably the same week, that will count as one credit pull. The other thing, this is one that I can't stress enough, and it's one that I teach my BDOs to kind of listen to, which is be transparent. If you're trying to hide something from the bank, it's going to come out. We for your one loan, we do thousands of them. And so, and there's multiple people that have eyes on it. It will bubble to the surface. It is a heck of a lot easier to know about something at the very, very beginning. And then quite frankly, we might be able to mitigate it. We might be able to get around it if we know about it. But it's when someone tries to hide something, thinking that Wells Fargo or X bank is not going to find out. Yeah, sure. Sometimes you might get away with it, but 99% of the time, we're going to find out about it, and more than likely, it's gonna hurt the chances of the deal. And so, just be transparent. Let us know where you think. Hey, do you think this is going to be a problem? I, you know, filed bankruptcy 10 years ago due to, you know, medical payments. Well, no, it was. You know, the kind of the magic rule is 7, and it was medical related. And so if it does come up on the credit report, I can have a conversation with the underwriter about the essence of it. Now, if it's, hey, I'm in the middle of bankruptcy, is that going to be a problem? Yeah, that's probably going to be a problem if you're seeking credit from us. And so save a lot of people a lot of time and just be super transparent. The last piece of advice is when seeking credit, a lot of you will be asked to fill out personal financial statements. Okay. One thing that lenders really pay attention to in those PFSs is liquidity. Okay. So how much cash do you have in the bank? Okay. I teach my bankers to really hone in on when a small business owner fills out that PFS,
that they put all of their liquidity on the document, not what they think we want to see. Meaning, if you're buying a piece of real estate and you're doing 20% down, there are probably about 25% of the time, the small business owner will show that 25% and that's it, or that 20% and that's it. But in reality, they may have 60%. They might have another 100,000 just that's sitting in a different account, but they're only showing what they're going to need to close on that loan. And although we're not going to require it, there are times where cash flow is very tight. The underwriter will say, okay, well, how is the liquidity stance? How is the business operating? If the roof, let's say we close and then 3 months later an AC goes out, and it's a $10,000 charge, are we zeroing out this individual? They have no money outside of what they're putting down on the property. What happens if Murphy Law happens, right? And so I've literally had a situation before in the past where the individual did that. I didn't catch it. I'll say it was earlier in my banking career. I didn't catch it. The underwriter said, hey, the cash flow is very tight and they don't have any liquidity outside of the deposit or the cash injection. I went back to the customer and said, hey, we're probably gonna have to decline this. And they said, no, hold on. I've got this other $1 million sitting in this other account. And I learned a valuable lesson from the underwriting manager that day. They go, well, if this is new information, what else don't we know? What else have they been hiding from us or that they didn't share with us? If this will help them, what else? And so it injected doubt into the deal. And when you start to lose your credibility on the underwriting side, it's a lot harder to gain that credibility back. And so the easiest is to just put everything in that PFS because it does make a difference.
Absolutely. Integrity is such a huge part of all that credit, and it doesn't take a whole lot to tarnish it. So, yeah, being upfront. One of the things I wanted to just tag on real quick is that with the SBDC and part of the money team, when I'm meeting with clients, I'm pulling that same information. I said, because I'm going to give you 2 or 3 referrals to lenders that I've already vetted that like your kind of industry, that like this kind of loan, so that they don't have to go around circling, looking for everybody themselves. They're free to do that, but we try to provide that service as well. And I say, I need to know everything you're going to tell the lender plus them, because I want to see how much hair is on this deal and what red flags are going to come up, because they're going to find it and they're going to ask that question.
And one of the other things, so CJ and I are currently working on a couple of big loans for some of our small business owners. And, one of the things we're trying to do is ask all the questions that we think you would ask, go through all of the financials and try to mitigate any of the damage from like odd questions that we see as a red flag, so that we can be ready to explain it when you're ready to ask us to explain it. So we go through all of that in hopes of preparing the client so that before they get to you, they're super prepared and ready to go. Awesome. And not come to you with handwritten, bookkeeping records and whatnot. Sure. So that's one of the services that the money team provides to SBDC clients. Like, we try to get you ready and then try to help you find the banks with the right appetite for what you need your money for.
That's powerful, because you save yourself a lot of time and money, and quite frankly, in an environment that we're in right now, where rates they're increasing faster than I've seen probably in my entire banking career. Time is money. That's a cliche, but honestly, that's if you're helping find the potentially the right home right off the bat and shaving 6 months. 6 months could be, arguably it could be 2 full percentage points of an interest rate on a loan. So that's very valuable, very valuable.
So we have a couple of questions. CJ, do you have anything to add before I ask those questions?
No, but I might pop in when you're answering them.
Okay, I've pulled up the chat feature and I see that there are some questions. So does Wells Fargo handle startup companies?
We do, depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a loan, SBA is your best option when it comes to startup businesses. But there is a lot of due diligence in starting up a business. But we absolutely do startup lending and/or banking.
Excellent. So what about credit scores? Is there a range or sort of a minimum that you're looking for when we're dealing with small businesses?
It depends. Our lending manager. I ask him a question, and almost always it depends, because I try to get him into a corner. As a salesperson, I want to maneuver it and then say, hey, remember when you said, and he's too sly for that. And so it really just it depends. Are you talking about a line of credit? Are you talking about a secured line of credit? Are you talking about a commercial real estate loan? Talking about SBA? You're talking about opening up accounts? They all have different risks and they all have different mitigants. And so it really depends on what exactly you're talking about as far as the product is concerned. And then also, a lot of the times if there's a story to be had, right? Was there fraud on your account? Tell me why your credit score is what it is. If we pull up your credit score and you're looking for a credit card, and on your credit score, in the last 90 days, you've had 3 late payments. That's not a good. I can't say that we would 100% decline that, but it makes things very difficult for us to mitigate when, as recent as 30 days ago, you're late on your payments. Mm-hmm. And so what we've also done is we've also tried to. A lot of times, if credit is off the table because of that credit score, we try to explore why those 30 days. Is it because there's no cash in the account, or is it because you you lost track? And is there a banking product that can kind of help you make those payments on time, versus just having them go delinquent, right? And so truly understanding not the effect, but the action of why were they 30 days will also help us say, hey, you know what? We can't help you now, but look at what we can do here and here. And then in 6 months, let's reapply and let's fix this issue, and then let's reapply. And so that's typically what we try to do.
Excellent. So because you do help, business startups, another question that we had was, do you have lending programs for micro businesses? I'm going to guess you're going to say yes.
We do.
Yes.
We do. And so it really depends on the business. We work through our SBA department for microloans. I will say that Wells Fargo does a great job of kind of helping these small businesses, but there are other lenders there are other lenders out there that I feel capture more of that business, if I'm being fully transparent. But we do have options, and I'm a big proponent. If we're not able to help, I can provide a handful of lenders that are more open. As we just talked about, all banks have appetites that might have a bigger appetite for those microloans. But we do them. We absolutely do them.
And there are alternate lenders, especially for startups and micro lending. We have our CDFIs and all those that they specialize in those very small kind of things. So, and because they do them on a regular basis, they do them very quickly usually.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, CJ. I didn't want to say that, but yeah, a lot of the times organizations like that are the more of the go-to for the sub $10,000 loans, $15,000 loans, just because they're faster than us. Wells Fargo, we have We do a lot of things really well, but speed typically is not one of them. And so it does take a little bit more time.
So one of the things, just to kind of jump on the SBDC sales pitch, and that is that one of the jobs that we do, or CJ's job, is to basically listen to you as an SBDC client and figure out, help you navigate where is the best place to get funding for the type of business you have, the kind of work that your business is doing, the size of your business. That's our job, to try to help you navigate that. And it may be that we're sending you to Wells Fargo, but again, it may be that we're recommending a different kind of bank. And that's all CJ's wheelhouse. That's her special magical power.
Yeah, part of our grant requirement is that we refer 2 or 3 different names to a client. So you choose. We can't show any favoritism, no matter how much we love Wells Fargo or other people. We always give you options to choose from. It's always up to you to do so. But like I said earlier, I vet them before I give them names to you, because I don't want you to have to waste your time or waste their time either with a deal that can't be done because of some reason. So yeah, saving time.
So we are getting close to the end of our time. I want to ask one more question that's on the list, and that is, how do you get your business credit score versus your personal credit score? And I think that's something CJ can probably help you with.
I can. We just did a webinar on that just a week ago. Yeah. Maybe we can send that link out to that webinar too, because we did talk about getting business credit and what that involves. It typically is through a Dun & Bradstreet, getting a Dun & Bradstreet number. And the earlier you do it, means that the timer starts at that date. So if you don't have a D&B number, go out and get it. It's free to get it. That's a good starting place. There are many other alternatives for building business credit, but I would invite everybody to watch the webinar because it was chock full of information just about that very subject.
So one thing I'm going to ask is if Esmeralda can put our email address, SBG email address, in the chat again, and grab that email address. If you have those kinds of questions, you can send them directly to that email address, or you can come to this small business growth website that you can see on the screen right now. Click Grow for funding questions, and you'll get set up with a counselor that can help you answer those questions. We had one last question in the Q&A, and here's the question. Many of us took a big hit financially during the pandemic, and our revenue is low. Do you take that into consideration for funding?
Is that a me question?
Yeah. How about we let Brian answer?
Okay. So we absolutely take that into consideration. There's a couple of different ways that we look at it. So right now, most businesses that I've had a conversation with, if they've had PPP funding, that's been forgiven. And so that is taken off from cash flow. And then if you have an EDIL loan, we do see a lot of those as well. Those relatively are smaller payments just because of how they were structured. They're 30-year mortgage or 30-year loans, very low interest rates. But as far as a dip in revenue, we can explain it, but we still need cash flow. And so if we can explain the dip in the historical information, meaning, hey, 2020, I struggled, my gross income has dipped, but is gradually kind of picked back up in 2021. And then with interim financials of 2022, I was back at that level of where I was at, let's say 2019, and we can paint that photo, then we can say, hey, you know what, we're comfortable with it. The cash flow is there. The historical is a little bit dicey, but we can explain why that is, and we'll get that, and more than likely we'll get that deal approved. But if the business hasn't recovered and we're still stagnant, 2.5 years later, that is a challenge.
Okay. Excellent. So I don't want to take up any more of the time of our participants. Thank you so much, Brian. All of the information was super helpful and educational for me as well. I would like to thank CJ for sitting in and fielding all those other funding questions, and for Esmeralda helping us on the back end with getting all of your questions answered. If we did not get your question answered, do not fret. In the chat is the email that you can send a question to, and we will get back with you. Again, I'm hopeful that you'll get over to this website, explore the page, figure out an area that matches you, look into our AERO program. We'd love to have you. And again, we're all available to answer questions, so just send us an email. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today.
Thank you all.
Again, thank you, CJ, Brian, and Yolanda. I just want to let you all know that I'll be sending you a recording of this webinar within 24 to 48 hours. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Perfect. Thank you.